Today we'll look at 10 cheap cars that you can buy for under £10,000 that have insanely good fuel economy. Let's get straight into it. Let's kick off with the Jaguar XF, specifically from the diesel S spec that offers some serious miles per gallon and performance for the money. It was an Callum design which picked up where the S-Type left off as the executive luxury saloon car for the brand. It was a bit of a corner cut by Jaguar too, as originally it was supposed to have an all-aluminium chassis to save weight, but ultimately ended up with a modified forged chassis to save time and cash. Today they're aging saloons with decent interiors that do time capture well back to the late 2000s and early 2010s, decent looking exteriors and an overall decent offering. They come with a 3-litre turbocharged V6 engine putting out 295 brake horsepower, taking them to 60 in 6.2 seconds, and with fuel economy of around 47 miles per gallon. They're listed anywhere from around £4,000, of a 10k we're looking at a 2013 model with 70,000 miles on the clock. Of course, as a diesel, city-based ones can suffer DPF clogging, but more broadly these are known for multiple electrical failures. They're also known to have issues with the crankshaft wearing early on that diesel block. The Alfa Romeo Giulietta Quadrifoglio is an unreal car, as I showed in a review I did last year, and its younger sibling is available within our price range, the Alfa Romeo Giulietta Quad. While there were some eyebrows raised at whether this car deserves the quad badge, it's not a slow car, looks decently pretty and has some nice premium options to get it feeling suitably Italian. They come with the same engine as the Alfa 4C, a 1.75 litre turbocharged inline 4 block that makes 236 brake horsepower, getting it to 60 in 5.8 seconds while also managing 41 miles per gallon. That engine wasn't just meant to be economical, it harks back to the engine size that Alfa used for classic cars back in the early days of the brand. They start at around 5.5k, and for our 10k limit we'll get a sold by 2015 model that's done around 60,000 miles. Build quality issues are known on these, with owners mentioning broken gear knobs and door handles. Timing issues have also been reported, leading to other more serious engine issues in the worst cases. I was fortunate enough to test drive the Peugeot 308 GTI last year thanks to one of you lovely subscribers, and it was absolutely unreal. Simply put, until I drove the GR Yaris, it was probably my personal favourite hot hatch of the ones that I'd driven. More fun and pure than the Golf R and A45 AMG. I would say they're not exceptionally flashy, especially when compared with other hot hatches, as the exteriors and interiors are both quite aggressive looking but not mental. But to drive they are lovely, really well balanced, the diff does a lot of the heavy lifting for making them super strong on corners, and the whole car just inspires confidence. The engine on these is also not the same as a standard hot hatch, a 1.6 litre turbocharged inline 4 that makes 268 brake horsepower, taking them to 60 in 5.8 seconds, and with fuel economy of 47 miles per gallon. You'll find them starting anywhere from around 6 grand, and 10k will get you a 2016 example with 60,000 miles on it. The main issues I could see on forums were actually build quality related, with water leaks known and problems with some of the electrical creature comforts, including the infotainment. The G20 BMW 3 Series is literally the most recent generation, and yet you can get into one within our 10k price range that's also decent on fuel economy. That's mostly because the 330 has been a pretty popular taxi. If you've ever ordered an Uber exec or equivalent, you might have sat in the back of one. Part of that is the reliability, as though there are some known issues, plenty have managed pretty high mileages in a short space of time. Some owners have mentioned battery drain and degradation, coil packs going, and some turbo and water pump issues, but this is of course the newest car on the list still. They come with a 2-litre turbocharged inline 4 engine combining with electric power to put out 287 brake horsepower, taking them to 60 in 5.7 seconds, and even without that motor they'll manage 42 miles per gallon. If you want the most up-to-date technology, interior, infotainment and all the rest on this list, this is the car to go for. It's as simple as that. 8.5 grand is the minimum you'll find these listed for, and 10k is enough for a 2020 model that's done some serious mileage, probably a previous taxi. On to another popular taxi now, the W205 generation Mercedes C-Class, which is a lovely car. Having driven a few of them, it blends more modern looks with great value for money right now. If you're looking for something to criticise, then the interiors are a little bit dated in the Mercedes lineup now, but they're still pretty nice. And if you want one that has great fuel economy for sub 10k, it has to be the C350E, which comes with a 2-litre turbocharged inline 4 block, combining with an electric motor to make 288 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 5.7 seconds, apparently managing 135 miles per gallon, assuming you spend a bunch of that time in electric only mode. More like 40 miles per gallon if you don't, but that's still pretty good. If you want one, you need to spend around £6,000, within our 10k price range, we'll be looking at a 2017 example that's done around 95,000 miles. Like the BMW, its electrical issues owners report the most, with the high voltage battery pack being an expensive replacement. Forums also have the odd post on the suspension components being a little weaker and giving up sooner than you'd like. Wanted to cut in for 2 seconds to talk to you about why you haven't subscribed yet. 77% of people watching this right now haven't subscribed. That applies to you. Do hit it, it's free, 2 videos every single week. I'd love to have you on board. And while you're here, do consider hitting the like button as well. It really helps the video out and lets me know if you want to see more videos like this. The Lexus GS 450h is one of the best value for money cars in almost any category you can plug it into, especially second hand. It's luxurious, it's clad with some unreal tech for its age, it's economical, and it's actually pretty quick too, and it does all of that without being too shouty aesthetically as well. That's why the car initially premiered at Pebble Beach, with brand new body styling showing a more angular future for Lexus that has gone on to inspire more recent generations. I don't think they had the looks bang on at the time, but it was definitely a work in progress to the nice looking cars we see from the brand today. They are of course a hybrid with the pretty reliable 3.5 litre V6 engine combining with electric power to make 340 brake horsepower, taking them to 60 in 5.7 seconds, managing around 46 miles per gallon too. They start at around £8,000, and for 10k we'll be looking at a 2012 model that's done pretty high mileage. Oil leaks and a few electrical issues are known with these, including expensive replacement for the hybrid battery, but they're actually broadly supposed to be very reliable. Again, thanks to my friends at Motorland, I had the chance to drive the Audi RS6 from the C7 generation. It was an absolute monster, possibly too fast. You simply don't need that amount of performance out on the roads. That's where the A6 TDI makes so much more sense, with its 3 litre V6 turbocharged engine, putting out 268 brake horsepower, taking the car to 60 in 5.5 seconds, and to a fuel economy figure of 53 miles per gallon, the best of any purely combustion powered car on this list. This was probably the most practical car on the list with its massive boot in estate spec, and you can still get the S line too, so you can benefit from some nicer exterior and interior looks. From this list, this might be the ideal car for a nice long road trip, loads of space, great economy, chuck on a roof box and you are laughing. These start at around $7,500, and for our 10k limit you'll get us up a 2015 model that's done pretty high mileage. Multiple seals and gaskets can leak oil, and timing chain issues can also appear. Turbochargers, EGR valves and fuel injectors are also known to fail. Next up, we have a pretty rare car for us here in the UK, the Infiniti M, and more specifically the 4th generation M. Strangely, this car was designed with the stylings of 1960s and 70s Coca-Cola bottles as an inspiration, and it debuted at Pebble Beach just like one of its main competitors, the Lexus we just spoke about. Also like the Lexus, these come with a 3.5 litre V6 block, and they're a hybrid, so they make 358 brake horsepower, taking them to 60 in 5.3 seconds, and to a miles per gallon figure of 40. Of course, Infiniti is to Nissan what Lexus is to Toyota, so the focus is on being a little bit more executive and luxurious all in, with nice tech and all the rest, but the brand has never been particularly popular in the UK, hence they pulled out of our market in early 2020. You'll find them starting from around $4,500, and 10k will get a 2014 model that's done around 45,000 miles. They are known to be pretty reliable, and owners on forums only seem to consistently mention infotainment issues and the likes. There are also known cracking dashboards in hotter climates. I mentioned that A6 was probably the best car to pick from this list for a road trip, but if you want to go a little bit quicker than that diesel, you should get this, a Seat Leon Cupra 300 ST, a lovely fast estate built on the same platform as the Mark 7 Golf and Mark 3 Audi A3, and with all-wheel drive too to match that A6. This is basically the Seat equivalent of the VW Golf R estate, with the more typically angular stylings that come with that brand, and having driven a slightly lesser Cupra from this generation, they are lovely cars outside and in, if a little cheap feeling. They come with a 2 litre turbocharged inline-4 engine that makes 295 brake horsepower, taking them to 60 in 5 seconds, plus they manage around 40 miles per gallon. 10 grand is the minimum you'll find these listed for, so for that kind of money you'll be getting a 2017 model that's done pretty high mileage. Thermostat housing failure is one of the scarier issues on these, as well as the clutch having problems on the manual, or DSG issues too. The water pump has also been shown to fail. When my good friends at Motorland gave me a Golf R to cruise around in, I jumped at the chance, and what a car it was. I wanted to know if it was a hyper hatch, and though it probably isn't, it might be the best value for money hot hatch right now in terms of capability if you're willing to ignore the slightly tarnished reputation. Having driven the car in anger, I can't really understand exactly why they've got a bit of a boy racer vibe to them, because in reality they're actually very practical, sensible, and if anything, boring cars with some very decent performance. They come with the same engine as the Seat Leon, the 2 litre turbocharged inline-4 making 295 brake horsepower, taking them to 60 in 4.9 seconds, though this is also the least fuel efficient car on the list at 38 miles per gallon. If you're after one, you need to spend around $9,500, and within our 10k price range, you'll be looking at a high mileage 2014 example. Forums point to turbocharger failures mostly on early models, coolant leaks from the thermostat, pump housing, water leaks from clogged sunroof drains, and potential carbon buildup on the engine valves, plus of course DSG issues are known, as well as the front wheel bearing issues. I hope you enjoyed these picks. Let me know what you'd go for in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and to pay for their support, click on screen to see my review of that Golf R.